Hi folks, I am Lisa Van Gelder. I am VP of Product Engineering at Meetup. Meetup's actually done a really good job of recruiting senior women into leadership. 50% of our C-level folks are women, and all three of the top three most senior technical people at the company are all women, which I've actually never seen happen before. There's our CTO, Yvette. There's me, I am head of product engineering, and my counterpart, Lena, is head of platform engineering. So I'm going to talk about recruiting for a while. Why? I'm often asked by people thinking about coming into the industry what it's like to be a woman in tech. Because you hear horror stories from companies like Uber. And actually, I've been lucky. I've had very few instances of outright sexism during my career. But the one place where I think I have seen bias most clearly is in recruiting. And I'm going to talk about that now. So our story starts at the end of last year, when I was looking for a new executive position in New York. And a weird thing happened. I got called unqualified a lot. And that was weird, because I was applying for jobs and I definitely met the requirements. So I thought, hey, maybe the requirements are different in this country. Maybe I need a CS degree, because I don't have one of those. Or maybe I need an MBA, because I haven't got one of those either. So hey, the audience, maybe you can help me out with something. I'm going to show you two candidates. You can help me make a decision between them. The position is CTO. So here we have candidate A, who has 5 months software development experience, no management, no exec experience. Then we have candidate B, who has 15 years software development experience, 10 years management, and a year and a half executive experience. So put your hands up if you think that candidate A with 5 months experience is qualified for the position of CTO. No takers? Put your hands up if you think candidate B with 15 years experience is qualified for CTO. Hey, that's pretty much all the room. And of course you're wrong. Candidate A is of course the CTO. He is a real CTO in New York City, last seen overseeing a development team of about 35 engineers. Candidate B is me. That is my experience when I was looking for a job in New York last year. This is slightly a cheat. This is not one of my A/B tests. I did not go up against that man for interview. I interviewed with him for the position of VP engineering at his company, which he told me I was not qualified for. I was thinking, I'm sorry, what qualifies you to be CTO of your company? So after this, I checked in with a couple of friends of mine who were also interviewing in New York at the same time, and I realized something really interesting. They weren't just interviewing at the same time as me, but because our experience was very similar, they're interviewing for the same positions at the same companies at the same time as me. When we compared experiences, I got asked different questions. So when you talk about A/B testing, you're mostly talking about comparing two variants, that is, two things that are very similar apart from one key difference. I'm going to talk about comparing me with Mike, who's one of my oldest friends, because we have very similar experience, and we realized actually that we interviewed at 3 of the same companies within the space of a month as each other. So if you compare us, we have pretty much the same amount of development experience. I've got slightly more management experience than Mike. He's got slightly more executive experience than me. But otherwise, we're pretty damn similar, right? So now I'm going to talk about those 3 companies and what happened. So company A, this is the same company as candidate A. This is our CTO with 5 months development experience. So they told me that the most important qualifying characteristic to be their VP engineering was I must have managed at least 75 developers. Like 74 was not going to be enough. I hadn't managed that many. I'd only overseen a team at that point of 35 engineers. He told me I was not qualified. When Mike went to talk to them, the subject number of developers that Mike had managed never came up. They made him an offer. Mike had also never managed 75 developers. His top number was 30. Company B. They talked for a long time about all the problems I had solved at various of my jobs. And in the end, they told me I wasn't qualified because I hadn't solved their exact problems. When Mike went to talk to them, they talked to him about the most important challenges the company was facing, and they made him an offer because they loved his solutions. Mike had also never solved their problems. I never got the chance to talk through what I would have solved about their challenges. Company C. Mike got asked about his management style. Within 5 minutes of meeting me, the CTO said it was great to have a woman apply because they're looking for a softer touch in management. Anybody who knows me, I am not a softer touch. So, what's going on? So we break ourselves into in-groups and out-groups. This is pretty much a normal part of the human experience. The in-group is those we identify with. The out-group is everyone else. The in-group in tech is pretty much straight white men. That is the most populous. It's what's considered normal. That means that the out-group here is everybody else. And there's a bunch of research that says just that in-group, out-group bias actually has a big impact on recruitment. When you recruit people who are in the in-group, you hire based on potential. When you recruit people in the out-group, you hire based on experience. And this works whether or not the interviewer is in the in-group or the out-group. It's only which group the interviewee is in that actually matters. And hey, this matches my experience really beautifully, right? I must have managed exactly 75 developers. I must have solved exactly their problems. And at certain levels, this is irritating, but I can get above it. Like if I must have exactly 6 years experience to be senior, I can get 6 years experience. But it starts to get tricky when it comes to executives, because at some point you're going to want to hire on potential. What qualifies you to be CTO? But if you look at the stats for women in Silicon Valley, I think this bears it out. There are 45% of the top companies in Silicon Valley where they have no women at all in executive positions. So, what can we do about problems in recruitment? First of all, as people who are interviewing in the out-group, but also as allies. So as allies, I would say the most important thing that you can do is listen, believe people. Because so often when someone comes up to tell you something, they are not believed, dealing not only with the incident itself, but they have to try and justify that it actually happened. Here's a time when it happened to me. I was at a group, pretty much like this UNCUBED event, chatting to an engineering leader, when the topic turned to Google, because a report had come out that they were systematically underpaying women. And the engineering leader said, that didn't happen. The women are not paid less than men on average. And I told them, actually, it happened to me. So at the same time when I was checking with my friends about jobs, we checked in about offers. And I discovered that I was making 2/3 of what the men made. And the engineering leader said, well, they're probably just lying to you. So they're exaggerating their offers to make themselves look better in your eyes. But even if they're not, all it means is that the companies have taken a long, hard look at you and your experience and decided that you are just worth less than the men. So first of all, don't be that guy. Secondly, don't be that guy if you're recruiting for your company, because we were at the event because this company was sponsoring it, and everyone who heard him walked out. Next, what can we do as interviewees? In the out-group, first of all, I would say apply. This stat is bandied about a lot, that men apply for a job when they make 60% of the qualifications, women only apply when they meet all of them. It's often bandied about like, hey, women just apply for things. If you remember the in-group, out-group bias, actually women will get told that they are not qualified. But nevertheless, I would still say apply, because if a company wants to talk to you without all the qualifications, it's a good sign that they're trying to hire you based on potential, and that's worth trying to talk to. Ask a company about the biggest challenges that they are facing. I will always go into a job with a set of talking points about leadership, about strategy, all the things that you don't expect from a woman. Do everything you can at the interview to push the interview into potential. Public speaking is also a fantastic skill when it comes to interviewing. If you're like me, having to sell your skill and experience to a set of strangers is absolutely terrifying, but practicing public speaking can help you. Also, if you're looking for more senior positions, you're often explicitly tested on public speaking at interview. At 3 of the last jobs I applied for, I had to give a presentation to the exec team. So the good news is if public speaking terrifies you, you can improve. The bad news is you kind of have to improve by doing. There's a whole bunch of organizations that can help you. There are meetups to practice, like lightning talks. There are people like, oh, no, it's gone. Toastmasters, thank you. That was exactly what I was looking for. Toastmasters, who literally help people practice public speaking. This book is also a fantastic resource, not just about public speaking for conference speakers, but public speaking in general for anybody. This is a small part of a much bigger talk, so I couldn't get in all the tips I have for interviews and interviewers. If you want to chat to me about recruitment, then please come find me after this. Also, Meetup is hiring pretty much all roles at all levels. I would love to come chat to you. It's a great company. Thanks.